if you're doing too much, like just too busy, then it's going to be distracting, even if the volume is low. So try to be more spacious, slow, like, you know. And brothers and sisters, this evening, we just want to worship the Lord in spirit and truth. And His holiness will come down on us today. Let us give God thanks for what He has done for us in our lives. M. Crady says, tips for playing background music, talk music, without distracting the congregation. So, M. Crady, the first thing is your volume. Your volume is the most important thing when playing congregational talk music, background music. You should be super low, so it, you know, it just really blends into the background. So I would start with that. Some pastors, when they're talking, they don't like to have any form of music going. And so you kind of have to know the leaders of your church, what they prefer. Some people are just miserable, you know, especially some people from the congregation. So, you know, it's really a dynamic kind of thing. You got to be very vigilant. Know the people of your church. Know the elders of your church. See, you know, what some people appreciate. I mean, you can't please everybody, but the people who are in charge, you know, those are the ones you kind of want to look out for. So make sure your volume is low. I know that some churches are set up in a way that it's hard for the musician to tell how loud the sound is in the congregation, especially if you don't have a sound guy to, you know, be able to turn you down into the house speakers. So that's really something you want to be able to dial into. Like, for example, my church, I play for a small church. We have probably like 120 members. We don't have a sound guy. We do all of the sound from on stage. And so sometimes it's hard for me to tell how loud something is in the congregation. And so I have people in the audience that I can always rely on. One of them is the pastor's wife. She always tells me what's going on in the audience. So whenever she does this, she's saying it's too loud, bring it down a little. And she does it subtle, so nobody even know what it means. The guitarist, his wife also, she give us cues from the pew, basically what's happening. So it's just those things we look out for. But, you know, that's the biggest thing I've learned over the years. You know, if your talk music playing is distracting, it's generally because it's too loud. So just bring down the volume, you know. Also, another thing to keep in mind is if you're doing too much, like just too busy, then it's going to be distracting, even if the volume is low. So try to be more spacious, slow, like, you know. And brothers and sisters, this evening, we just want to worship the Lord in spirit and truth. And His holiness will come down on us today. Let us give God thanks for what He has done for us in our lives. You know what I'm saying? You kind of also try to pace it with how the person is speaking. You know, we all have little gaps and pauses between phrases and sentences. So you kind of taper your movements to go with, you know, the flow of how the person is speaking. You know, some people ask about talk music and they say, what do I play in talk music? And when it comes to talk music, it really starts with the progression. I just say pick 4 to 6 chord progression or 4 to 6 chords and loop them. The beauty about talk music is they're not playing for a singer or congregation or a melody. So if I decide my talk music progression is going to be 6, 4, 2, 5, 6, 4, 2, 5. 6, 4, then 2, 5, 6, 4, then to the 2, 5. So all I'm doing is progression 6 or chord 6, chord 4, chord 2, and then chord 5. Now, the beauty about that now, you can start to change up the order at which you approach the chords. So instead of going from 6 to 4, I can decide I'm going to go from 6 to 2, then I go to 4. So I can, then 5. Then instead of going to 6, I can decide I'm going to go back to 2. And that's how you can have, by using those 4 chords, you can build 15 minutes of talk music. Because you start to change the order of the chords. And then you can just start to mess around with little licks and little lines over them. And that's how you build a talk music. So when someone say, how do I play talk music? You don't need 16 different chords. Just pick 4 and then flip them in different orders. And it's just going to give you a wealth of things to play. Now, I don't even start using passing chords yet. So if I start to add passing chords to that, then it starts to get crazy. And so when you hear the advanced guys doing this, and you're just like, how are they coming up with all of this? They start with that seed of idea, 4 chords. And then from that, they start to change the order of the chords. Then from that, they start to put in passing chords and reharms and substitutions. And then that starts to create a tree from that little seed. Yeah? So that's how you do it.